Hi guys, and welcome back to Irony Completed. So someone called Hannah on Twitter, I will leave her @name somewhere on the screen, asked me to make a video about having short hair and deciding whether or not short hair is for you and maintaining it and growing out and all those kinds of questions. I think I said really early on that I was considering doing a video about short hair and my experiences with shaving my head, particularly because I shaved my head just over 2 years ago now, and I have been playing with having short hair and growing it out and cutting it short again for the 2 years that I've had short hair. So right now I am growing out the pixie cut that I had. The last time I had my hair cut into a pixie cut was October, and ever since then I've just been getting trims and styling it so that it looks good as it grows out, and I'll get more into that later, but right now I am growing my hair out. I want it to be kind of like chin length, no longer than shoulder length I don't think, but I'm not too sure. I think that I'm probably going to stick with short hair generally because I do really like having short hair and I think that pixie cuts suit me, but I kind of got bored a little bit and I wanted something different, and I haven't had remotely long hair for at least 2 years now, and even when I shaved my head I had like less than shoulder length hair, so I haven't had properly long hair since I was about 15 years old, which is like 4 years ago now. So yeah, I thought I would divide this video into topics. I have 3 topics that I can think of and that Hannah asked me about specifically on Twitter, and that is how to decide how short to get your hair cut, maintaining short hair, and growing out a short haircut. So in terms of deciding how short to get your haircut, this is something really that you should discuss with a professional hairdresser, because they are the people who can tell you what kinds of lengths and styles will suit your face shape best. Face shape is one of the main things that you should consider when getting any hairstyle really, and I don't want to tell anyone that they can't rock whatever hairstyle they want. Just because you don't have a heart-shaped face doesn't mean that you can't rock a fringe, for instance, but it's definitely something to consider and consult a hairdresser about if you want to get a style that will frame your face and accentuate your features best. Like I said, not telling anyone that they can't have a certain hairstyle because of the shape of their face or the size of their features or anything, but it's definitely something to consider. Another thing to consider when cutting your hair short is how often do you like to style your hair? For instance, I'm pretty low maintenance with my hairstyles, but when I did shave my head, I was pretty high maintenance with my hairstyles. I liked using a lot of heat on it. I really damaged the shit out of my hair, which is part of the reason that I shaved it off, the other reason being that I was raising money for Young Minds, a mental health charity. When I shaved my hair off, it was really liberating not being able to style my hair and not having to even think about it. You'd think that it would get annoying, and yeah, sure, it gets a little bit boring after a while if you can only have one hairstyle, but it's so freeing having super short hair, like a number 1 or a number 2 haircut, and just waking up in the morning and that's it, that's your hair done. You can focus on other things like clothes or makeup or, you know, productive things like schoolwork. But if you're someone who likes to style your hair a lot, you like to play with curls or straight hair or updos and pinning parts of your hair up, then maybe consider not getting as short of a pixie cut, kind of getting a grown out pixie cut or a really short bob or even a long bob. That still counts as short hair. All those kinds of styles allow you to play around with different hairstyles and heat tools a little bit more than just cutting your hair super short or shaving your head like I did. If you have really short hair, which I had for most of the time that I had short hair, then yes, you are a little bit limited in how many different styles you can do. However, I still found that I could play around with styles a little bit. I could wear it all down in my face, I could part it different ways, different directions, I could quiff it all back, I could straighten it, I could still just about make it curly. When it was slightly longer, when it was really short, that's a different story. But also, if you are the type of person who likes to play around with different styles, consider dyeing your hair when you have short hair. Not long after I shaved my head, I dyed it bright pink, and then I dyed it bright blue, and then I dyed it back to my natural colour when I went back to school. And over the years of having short hair, I've had pink hair, blue hair, green hair, rainbow hair, turquoise hair, and obviously right now I have green hair. Even if you have short hair, it doesn't mean you can't experiment, because you can experiment with colour if you want to instead of styling methods. Another thing that's kind of important to consider when you're getting a short haircut is your hair type. Cat. You do this in every video, everyone's noticing you. People think you're cute, do you know that? You don't even care. Your hair type is kind of important to consider when you're getting a short haircut, because if you have naturally curly hair like me and you get a really short haircut and then you try and grow it out like I have been, that will definitely impact how long it takes for you to grow your hair out, and again, the styles that you can wear your hair in. If you have naturally curly hair but you straighten it a lot, then that's kind of a different story. But if you have naturally curly hair and you're going to get a very, very short haircut like I first did when I shaved my head, it's definitely something to consider and maybe discuss with a hairdresser, because if you want to leave it naturally curly, then you're going to have to get a slightly different kind of pixie cut, and you're going to have to consider the partings and the way that your fringe or bangs go and things like that. So it's not to say that you can't have a pixie cut when you have naturally curly hair, because God knows I have had naturally curly hair all my life, and I've had a very, very short haircut for over 2 years now, so it can be done and it can work. But it's definitely something to speak to your hairdresser about, especially if you are someone who is very low maintenance and doesn't like styling their hair. So don't let it stop you, but definitely think about it and think about how often you like to style the curly hair and the products that you're going to use. Which brings me on to section 2, maintaining short hair. A thing that's really, really important when maintaining a short haircut and keeping a short haircut is making sure you get regular trims. Because when you cut your hair short, it kind of grows faster, or at least it's more noticeable when it grows. Because I suppose if your hair is really, really short and it grows an inch, it'll be so much more noticeable than if your hair is kind of like a boob length and it grows an inch. Do you know what I mean? One thing that is really, really annoying about having short hair, I'm gonna level with you guys, is the fact that the back of your hair seems to grow quicker than the rest of your hair, and so you kind of get this like mullety look going on if you don't trim it regularly enough. Now, I have been victim of the mullet many, many times, and because I have curly hair as well, it's like a curly mullet that like curls underneath my ears and around my neck, which just doesn't look good. So even if you want to maintain the length of it, make sure you go to the hairdresser and get trims at the back. And if you want to maintain a really, really short haircut, then you are going to need to get regular trims. The cost factor of that is definitely worth factoring in when you consider whether or not to get a short haircut. In terms of maintaining a short haircut, another thing to consider is using the right kinds of styling products on your hair. Now, I've talked to you guys before about dry texturizing spray, and my favourite dry texturizing spray at the moment is this Batiste Stylist one. It's a Texture Me texturizing spray, and it just kind of comes out like a hairspray, but it has a lot more hold and moldability to it. This is probably my favourite way of styling my hair at the moment, and dry texturizing sprays are good for all kinds of hair lengths. If you have hair that's kind of very fine or flat to your head when you have a pixie cut, investing in a good dry texturizing spray or texturizing wax is definitely something to consider. In terms of texturizing waxes or other kinds of texturizing styling products, one of my favourites is this Tiggy Bedhead one, which I think is now discontinued. Because the Rockaholic range, I think, got discontinued, but Tiggy Bedhead definitely make other products like this, and so do other brands. This is a texturizing spray pomade, so what it is, it's basically a wax or a pomade like you get in the little pots for guys, but it's in a spray form. What you do with this, rather than spraying it directly on your hair, is spray a little bit into the palm of your hand. It kind of looks a bit dodgy. Rub it between your hands to warm it up, and then you can shape and style your hair, and it adds a little bit of volume, adds shape, especially if you have curly hair. I was using the texturizing pomade spray by Bedhead when I had kind of like shoulder length hair. It's very, very good for curly hair, but also for fine hair if you want to add a little bit of volume, a little bit of something, and make it look less flat and shapeless. Another good thing to consider in terms of styling is a dry shampoo. Now, if you have very, very, very short hair, like a buzz cut or a very short shaved head like I did when I first cut my hair, no one's gonna know if your hair is greasy. Like, you basically don't even have to wash your hair in the shower. You can just rinse it under some water. Use some shampoo if you want to make you smell nice and feel clean, but really no one's gonna notice if you have dirty hair. But the longer the pixie cut gets, the more likely you are to be able to notice if your roots are a little bit oily, especially if you do have fine hair or if you do have naturally oily hair. I don't have naturally oily hair, I have kind of normal to dry hair. I'm definitely more dry since I've been using dyes and bleaching products on it, but if you do have naturally oily hair and a pixie cut, you will be able to notice if it's oilier quicker, especially at the back and the sides, because most of your hair is root. Does that make sense? So investing in a really good dry shampoo is also something to consider, so you don't have to wash your hair every single day, which is bad for your hair and can make your hair oilier because it strips away the natural oils and your hair goes into overdrive. It's similar to how if you have oily skin and you take away all the oils, your skin will produce more. I love Batiste dry shampoo. It's got so many different scents. This one is the floral and flirty blush, but I also really like the cherry scent and the tropical scent. It comes in a formula for brown hair, it comes in a formula for blonde hair, so I think the Batiste dry shampoo is a really good affordable option at the drugstore, but find a dry shampoo that really works for you, and that way you won't have to wash your hair as much, which will prevent you from damaging it. That's really all I have to say about maintenance. It's very, very personal and does depend on how often you like to style your hair and whether or not you're going to grow it out and things like that, because maintaining hair as you're growing out a short haircut is very, very different, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But in terms of topic number 3, growing out a short haircut, it does take a hell of a lot of patience, I'm not gonna lie. I have been growing out my hair for nearly a year now, and it's not very long. It's kind of a very, very short bob at the moment. As much as it's frustrating, it will be worth it. The main thing that you just can't do is give up and cut it short again, because then it'll just take even longer. But if you do want to grow out a short haircut, my main advice would be, again, to go for regular trims. Make sure the back is cut to the same length as the rest of your hair, so you don't look like you've got a mullet. Again, invest in the right styling products. I believe strongly in texturizing sprays or texturizing pomades. I think they're really, really good products for growing out a pixie cut. And a slightly longer pixie cut does look really, really good if you put some texture and maybe some waves into it. It looks awesome. But in terms of specific things for growing out a haircut, try to use as little heat styling on it as possible. Don't blow dry it as much. Don't use straighteners or heat tools like curling tongs on it as much, if possible. I know a lot of people like styling their hair with heat, and I'm definitely one of those people lately. Now that my hair is a little bit longer, I have been obviously using heat. I've been straightening the front portions of it a little bit. Not every single day, but most days. But when I was trying to grow out my pixie cut, I was using no heat on it. Basically, the only times I would blow dry my hair was if I was washing my hair in the morning and I had to leave right afterwards. And the only times I would straighten it or use heat on it was if I was going out and I really wanted a different style for a change, but that was really like less than once a month. The reasons to not use heat on it are kind of obvious. The less damaged your hair is, the better it will grow, the faster it will grow, and the healthier it will grow. And that's another reason to make sure you get regular trims as well. Taking away the damage will make your hair grow faster and healthier and fuller. If you must use heat on your hair, make sure you're using a heat protectant. This is the Tresemme one, heat defense up to 230 degrees Celsius. I've been using this one for years and I really, really like it. It has a nice smell, and I do think that it does prevent some of the heat damage. Obviously, there will still be some heat damage. And another thing that I would say is if you're going to use a blow dryer, then use a specific heat protectant for blow drying that adds volume as well. And this is a really good idea if you are growing out a pixie cut, is to use a volumizing heat protectant spray when you're blow drying your hair. Again, this is by Tresemme. It's 24-hour body blow drying lotion, and it has heat protectant, and it also conditions, smooths, and adds volume to your hair. So if you are blow drying your hair and you use a heat protectant like this that does have a volumizing aspect to it, then it will make a grown out pixie cut look a lot better. I feel like especially if you have very fine hair and you're trying to grow out a pixie cut, or you have a longer pixie cut, adding some volume and texture back into it is really important to make it look nice, because if you have a long haircut and it's just straight to your head and straight to your face, you could end up looking a little bit Justin Bieber-y. And if you have naturally straight hair, unfortunately growing out a pixie cut, there is probably going to be a point where you look Justin Bieber-y, just from my experience of friends who've grown out short haircuts. Another important thing when you're growing out a pixie cut is making sure that you use the proper conditioners and shampoos. You can buy specific products for hair growth. I've never tried any, so I can't tell you if they work. However, I will say that Vocine is a really good shampoo, and they also make like a serum that does help you grow hair, because I went through a phase a few years ago, I was probably about 15 or 16, where I was losing hair. I was having a little bit, I'm reluctant to call it alopecia because it wasn't all of my hair, but my hair was falling out in clumps and I had bald patches. I used Vocine and my hair grew back completely fine. So Vocine is definitely something to look into, although it is very medicinal smelling, so if you're not into that, then maybe get samples before you buy full size. It's not very expensive, you can buy it at the drugstore. I also know that Lee Stafford makes a serum called, or a mask product called, for hair that never grows past a certain length. I've never tried that, but I'm considering trying it. So if any of you guys have tried Lee Stafford for hair that never grows past a certain length, then please let me know down in the comments, because I'm interested in trying it out. I don't want to recommend it because I haven't tried it myself, but I have heard very good things. Also, conditioning is something that I completely overlook all the time. When I had very short hair, I didn't condition my hair every time I washed it because I didn't think my hair needed it. Like, you're supposed to apply conditioner to the lengths and ends of your hair, but like my entire hair was like root, so I didn't want to make my hair oily, and I didn't condition my hair every time. I would condition it after I used heat on it, I would condition it after I dyed it, but I wouldn't condition it every single time I washed it. Now that my hair's been growing out, I've been trying to take a little bit more care of it. I've been using a conditioner every time I wash my hair, and I've also been using a hair mask once a week. I use the Bleach London hair mask, which I think is awesome. So this is definitely something to consider when you're growing out your hair, is how well you're taking care of it in terms of shampoo, conditioner and treatments. Another thing is styles that you can put your hair in while it's growing out. I know that bobby pins were my goddamn saviour when my hair was kind of a very long pixie cut, because the sides were really like awkwardly shaped around my ears, because obviously when you have a pixie cut you cut it around the ear, so it was a really awkward shape around my ears, and that was really annoying. So bobby pins were like my lifesaver. I would pin back one side of my hair and leave the other side long, so it kind of looked like it was deliberately that way, or I would pin back sections from the front of my hair so it looked like I had a fringe and that the rest of my hair was pinned back. You can fake an updo if you have a kind of grown out pixie cut with hairpins and hairspray, and it kind of does look a little bit believable from the front. Another thing is, when it gets to kind of the length that I have it in now, play around with the parting. So now that my hair is a little bit shorter than chin length, I have been playing around with partings a lot. I'm sure you guys have noticed, because I've had several different kinds of partings in my last few videos. At the moment my favourite is this kind of centre part or a curly side part. I think that the centre part that I've been wearing a lot lately has been making my hair look more like a bob than a growing out pixie cut. So that's kind of something to consider as well, is playing around with partings and the way you style your hair. Also, obviously, I've been playing with pinning my hair up and putting it in pigtails and all those kinds of things as well, which does definitely help make your hair look like it's deliberately that length, as opposed to the fact that you're growing it out. Hairbands and bandanas are also my absolute saviour, and they have been ever since I decided to grow out my hair. If you're really having a bad hair day, your hair just looks absolutely awful in a grown out pixie cut, or even when you have a pixie cut, god damn it, a bandana or a hairband will save your life. You can just flip it all back with a bandana or with a cute hairband and pin the bits back if they're a little bit straggly at the sides, and you're good to go. That is a hairstyle. In terms of styling your hair, even when you have a pixie cut and you're keeping it as a pixie cut, hairbands and hair clips and bandanas and all these kinds of accessories are your best friend, as well as hats. These will be your best friend when you have a pixie cut and when you're growing out a pixie cut, because if you want to mix it up a little bit when you have short hair and you can't really style it any other way, a hairband, a hair clip, a flower crown, something like that, that totally like changes up your style. And if you're growing out your hair, the same thing. It can change it up, you can make it look like an updo, like I said, you can just push all your hair off your face in a really cute way, and it's definitely something to keep in mind. So I'm sorry if this video was a little bit all over the place. I've been trying to kind of like make my thoughts make sense. I did like write some stuff down, but I kind of was a little bit all over the place, I'm sorry. I hope this video was helpful to any of you guys who are maybe considering getting a pixie or a short haircut, or are growing out a pixie or a short haircut and just need a little bit of solidarity, because I sure know I do. I personally believe that hair is hair and hair grows back, so if you really are considering getting a short haircut, my opinion or my advice would be to just go for it, because it will grow back. It's not the end of the world if you cut your hair short, and I genuinely believe that it's worth it to shave your head at least one point in your life. Like, it's an experience that definitely changed my opinions about the way I look and the beauty industry, and about, you know, having to look presentable every day. And I got so many compliments when I had shaved head, so I'm definitely going to do it again at some point in my life. If you enjoyed it and you want to, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you want to follow me on Twitter, Tumblr or Instagram, they'll all be linked down in the description, along with everything that I'm wearing and what's on my face. Side note, someone asked me to do a tutorial on this bluey greeny smoky eye that I was wearing in my products I regret buying video, so I practiced it again today. And if you would like me to do a video on a bluey green smoky eye for brown eyes, then please leave it down in the comments, because I'd be interested to see who else would like to see a tutorial on this look. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!